Welcome back, everybody. We are getting into the losers match. It's a best of 3 between Snute and Bly. Another ZvZ, and that's just the way that we do things around here on BaseTradeTV.
Well, here around Europe. I don't think we have this many. Yeah, we don't have this many ZvZs anywhere else in the world, man.
Yeah, that is the way it goes. But at least Optimus keeping the Terran hope strong. And looking quite good. So hopefully he has a little bit more confidence, I guess, in this group after winning against Snutes. But what about these guys? It is a ZvZ between probably one of the more macro-oriented players and a cheesier player. So.
Yeah, well, I've got some things to say about it, but let's do these intros first. Spawning here on the bottom right side of the map, we got the orange Zerg in this fresh best of 3 for the losers match. It's Team Experts Bly. Oh. Cancel the drone. Looking for a faster pool.
In the top left is the blue Zerg. He is Snute.
So I think this was actually a really smart move out of Bly. If you guys have studied any of Snute's games, the ones specifically and particularly against the laser, Snute has lost to a lot of the laser's early pulls. Now it's not an early pull that tends to kill Snute, but it's a lot, the way the laser handles it. We'll see if Bly can hold up in that regard. But the thing is, I'm a big fan of both these players. You guys know at this point, Bly's a good friend of the channel, Snute's a good friend of the channel. I want both of them to win, and it sucks that one has to get eliminated here. But what's cool is I think it'll really shape up the future games. Snute is a very solid macro player. We see a lot more standard but awesome games out of him. Bly is a lot less standard and a lot more cheesy, and we'll see more proxy hatcheries than most if he gets to fight Protoss later on. Like, both of these players lead for a really exciting follow-up in the tournament. I'm curious, though, like, we're going to have one reality here and the alternate reality. Which one had more fun games at the end of the day, you know?
Well, I've been paying close attention to Snute's build. Well, you'd think he would expect something a little bit cheesy by Bly, but it's not 100%, so it is just sometimes okay to go for that hatch, then gas, then pool. He even added, I think, a couple of drones in between all of those things. Is that drone really going to go? No, it's going to be a hatchery, just in a weird location. Okay, interesting. So it is just going to be the speedling version. He took off gas completely. No banelings added in here, and it will go ahead and add that hatchery. And,
Did you do what I just did too for a moment? Where you're like, it's Bly, it might justifiably be a spine crawler.
I thought about it for a second, but I was like...
like a second, right? Like a fraction of a second, I did the same thing.
There's no way that you bring it with this late of a... Well, it wasn't a super late pool, obviously. It was an early pool, but it wasn't like a 12 pool. The Lings did, of course, successfully run around. So you might be thinking, like, what's the purpose of taking this third base? Like, either way, Snute's gonna know that it's an all-in. Or, well, it's an aggressive opener, shall we say. But the real trick is that Snute's supposed to know when to drone based off of the hatchery going down or not. And at this point, he's thinking, okay, there's probably even going to be banelings behind this. Like, I got to really be careful. And he won't know he's been kind of, you know, goofed up a little bit for a while. His Overlord might never go to that third base. And the Queen goes down. Drones are pulled to help defend, which seems to work out pretty well in terms of timing here. No damage onto the hatchery, and seems to be just enough. I think with the lack of banelings so far, he knows that it isn't banelings, and he's probably starting to figure out that the third base is taken on the other location.
His drones both fought in that fight, by the way, and they both lived. That was actually really funny and cool to see. Bly has to do a lot of damage here, though. I mean, it's not that he's down a base. His base is in a very awkward, exposed spot that's not connected by creep, followed up by the fact that his drone count's low. Like, what he's done against Snute so far is not enough. And Snute looks like he's more than capable of not just defending, but this counter push comes out now, and Bly could just be in a lot of trouble thanks to his opening.
Bly wants to save his queen so he can kill the Overlord, and Snute wants to save his Overlord and kill a queen, but it looks like Bly's defenses will be good enough. He did not just
too political for me.
He did not just try and drone greedily behind this, and that is why he's still down 6 workers. So, correct, he did not do enough damage. Everything worked out so perfectly timing-wise, with Bly, you know, taking the extra time going around, waiting for speed, and Snute pairing up his drones with the pull. Like, he had a very good defense, actually, against this specific build. If it was banelings, he might be in trouble. 2 banelings come in, and you pull the drones against that, well then, okay, buddy. But
that's when you say goodnight.
It wasn't, and, you know, the third base, it might have tripped up a little bit, and forced them to play like a little bit too defensive, but I think just not seeing banelings was enough to be like, okay, if they're not here now, then they're probably not on the way.
Well, again, I'm just staring at that drone count more than anything else. This is a really cute attempt at a wall off out of Snute, but he will have the high ground surround if Bly decides to push through this. Yeah, he can't push through that choke. He knows it too, so he backs away. But we've seen more than enough ZvZs. We saw ZvZ earlier today. Like, drone count really matters in 13 to 22, and Snoot's droning even more on top of it. Like, I'm feeling worse and worse for Bly as time ticks on.
Yeah. Bly's kill on the Overlord did more than just potentially supply block Snute, though. It also took away his vision. Not that he would have had a lot rather, because the third base is also being rallied from this location, not this ramp. Another interesting aspect taken out as the natural, I suppose. So Snute does not know if Bly's continuing to all in, but it's Bly, so you know you're gonna try and play defensive. So banelings are on the way, and all the Lings let their queens get surrounded, and that's definitely a mistake. Oh, and the banelings are all popped off already. That's also potentially a big mistake.
I still, like, with that queen up, queens are worth a lot.
Yeah.
Snoot's pulling the drones, but I think a little unnecessarily. He's a little bit scared and wants to keep that queen alive, but I think that, yeah, I like this. He puts a lot of them back to work and even micros some of the ones that were getting attacked, and this was a good defense. 31 drones now over 16.
Yeah, it looks like Bly's really run out of steam here. He also did not get that second hatch, queen, that's the word. He didn't get that second queen, so she also can just go ahead and either place on a creep tumor and inject. It's a pretty big deal, as well as just provide easy peasy defense. Bly, of course, is going to try and continue all-inning. But he didn't drone with that second attack, but he's not going to drone with the third one. Snute takes a third base. If anything, that could just buy him more time if he really needs it. I don't think it's really that, you know, that scary of a decision to go for that. So there's plenty of minerals. He's just waiting on larva. Yep, okay, he's got to cancel it, but as I said, buying time's not too bad either. Doesn't cancel it. He's banking 600 minerals. Oh well. Ah, the queen!
Oh, queen lives! Bailing Can also goes off. Bly loses a lot of his Lings, and Snoot's defense once again looks pretty solid. Because everything Bly's throwing at him, he just falls further and further behind. Snoot can afford to lose queens. Snoot can afford to lose a third. Bly can't even afford to lose Lings.
Yeah. That queen barely surviving was pretty important. She does have all the transfuses. Well, it would be important if the game was a little bit closer, but it's really come to a point where it's not close at all. Still no drones from Bly. Half the drone count now. Banling's really covering.
Oh, hey, shout out to this guy in chat, by the way. Bina says, thanks, Rifkin, for mentioning the retroactive credit from TING. I totally spaced when getting my SIM card yesterday. Their support is really great. Yeah, and the best thing is, like, they know who we are, too. So if you mention base trade, like, or StarCraft, they'll know which direction to point you.
I guess Bly's really just waiting to lose all of his Lings, which almost happened right there to tap out. So I think he realizes momentum's really not on his side. I mean, maybe if he had gone for his own Baneling nests, it would have been a little bit closer. A couple Lings over behind to try and snipe those Banelings. But without his own Banelings, he'd have to basically hope that Snute stopped making army. He never really truly did.
Well, the corpses are rocketing off into space, and I think at this point, though, like, we've been talking about him like he's a dead man walk, and Bly's literally on borrowed time. Because Snoot's been fending off and trading out decently, but he is taking that next step. He's advancing his tech. He's taking a third base. When the roaches come out, there's going to be so many Lings to protect said roaches, Bly can't even hope for a surround.
Yeah. Bly can't even get a good run by. Snoot's not leaving his base for too long. He's leaving it undefended. GG.
GG. Snute takes game number 1. I will say, though, like, I like the idea of what Bly went with. Again, if you've looked over any of Snoot's recent losses in ZvZs, and again, the most referenced material here would probably be versus a laser, like, that looks like such a smart move to do against Snute. But this, for me, just solidifies, too, to prove that Snute doesn't lose to early pools and gas. Snute just loses to a laser.
Yeah. I did not mean to make that one. I don't know if we shouted this out. I don't think we did, but someone had a 40-month resub, so...
Ooh, Elisar from the Clan SS.
That deserves 2 shoutouts, even if we did. I'm going to spend my big 4-0 to say, go Snoots. Snoo-hum, Ace Fork.
Yeah, it's one of his emotes, but yeah, Elisar, I think, was one of the... He was within the first couple months of us having a sub, and I always remember this name because I kept kind of calling him Celisar. Right. And he's like, no, it's just my clan is SS or whatever. So, thank you very much, man, for that long-time dedication. Glad and proud to have you on board for so long. But we are getting into the next lobby here for Belshir on game 2.
And they're both ready.
All right, we'll hop into it. Just that reminder, though, I really want to drive home that it is pre-picked maps. Due to their vetoes, there's no loser's advantage in this tournament. So this could be a bit rough. I don't know if this was Bly's pick or not.
Bly got A, or he won the coin flip, he chose B, so this would have been his map choice.
Okay, then maybe there's a chance he brings us back.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. I guess I'll go into it after the intros, but how the veto process is truly done, for those interested. In the bottom right, this guy is up 1. It is the blue Zerg, Snute.
And his opponent top left, going to be the orange Zerg player, Blair? It's Bly. And I can never in my career introduce this guy correctly.
It's going to run with you. So, what I was talking about, you know, it's not too fancy or whatever, but I think what a lot of people assume is that choosing first is better. So, a couple players have like vocally been like frustrated with this whole idea that whoever is higher seed gets A automatically, but about like 80% of the time, I want to say, if someone wins the coin flip, they will choose the second veto, B, basically. Seeing what your opponent does, I guess, is more valuable information, and just hoping that they veto something that you also want to veto.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of very actually justified reasons. For me, if it was like if I'm in those shoes, I think I like the idea of having the loser's choice map, because if I win game 1, great, and then I've got an advantage going to game 2, or if I lose game 1, well then I've got a map I'm comfortable with in game 2.
Yeah. And it's as I said, it's like 80%. Not everyone always chooses B, so there's some disparity, but it does.
Well,
the choice.
It also needs to be said too in this matchup, ZvZ. Like this isn't actually as map dependent as some other matchups, right? Like there are some matchups where like map pick is a big deal. ZvZ, I feel is very light on that.
Sure, any mirror match is gonna be a little bit lighter, but there's certain like some maps stylistically are worse than others for sure.
Liberators, Cactus Valley.
Sure, but I was thinking more like Proxima Station. If my biggest fear in TVT is being dropped, then I don't like that map actually, despite being a typical macro player, I suppose. So there's
yeah, I can see that. Regardless, though, as we get into this game, no quick and early fast gas pools, so we're gonna have a little bit more of a straightforward game out of Bly. I think it kind of sucks. Bly does have a reputation for being this player who's kind of perhaps a little too all in, and we never really get to see a macro. But I've been casting Bly for like the majority of 3+ years, guys. He was like one of the first players I really got into when I was like getting into casting and learning the Zotac cups, because he was always grinding every cup. And I can tell you, I've seen so many long games out of Bly. Bly and Nurture have had these really epic series. Like Hive Tech is not like an enemy of Bly, but he does tend to play really aggressive, and that either works out so well to his advantage or ends up sucking like last game looked like. And it's hard to look at that last game and be like, oh, Bly's like anything but, like he's just bad at ZvZ.
Yeah,
There's just one bad game that's really, unfortunately, not a good representation of him. But again, it also speaks highly of Snute, because he defended that very well in many different aspects.
Yeah, from start to finish, it was a good defense, good knowledge of his opponent too. A little bit of a micro going on. We'll go not in favor. What? In favor? Not in favor. Not in favor, Snute, but he has 2 extra lings coming in here too. That was really close. Not that it was really important if one ling lived, like what's the big deal? It's not gonna kill a hatchery, and they both are getting hatcheries, and I think they both will scout that. Yeah, Snute did see it with a slightly injured Overlord. Thank you to Gliburp for the 15-month resub. I'm still here. Yes, you are. Good job. Alright, Sply did not go for Balinus, he did not, whereas Snute did. Now this really backfired on Bly in his first game against a laser. It is something that I wonder if he's even like known for at this point in time. It's funny to say that someone's aggressive in ZvZ, yet that doesn't necessarily mean it's with a Baneling Nest. If you think aggressive, you think Ling Bling Wars. But Bly has been playing a lot of this Ling pressure into Roachwarren style. Sometimes it works great, but so far, today, it hasn't. Bit scary to have your queens this far out when you can't actually take on Snute's lings and banelings. But it looks like that queen gets the Overlord kill! That was smooth! That was buttery.
Well,
okay,
that also hurt a lot in the supply now. Really, really being punished for it.
Doesn't even get the drone. And the queens did not start moving their fat butts back. They will die. They would have died anyway, but at least they would have been hopeful. Bit of a problem. Bly has 11 roaches on the way, but if Snute sees him pop in the natural, maybe tries the main, he's gonna get maybe a couple of drone kills. Not gonna try the main. Goes for the third instead, but there are also some roaches over there. Okay, not too bad. That could have been more devastating, but still losing 2 queens like that was not great. And Snute is already on his roaches too, so it's not like Bly has a tech advantage, because Bly is once again trying to be aggressive with this. What I think he hopes to always be a bit faster over Roach Warren, but a laser barely had his Roach Warren in time. Snute definitely has his Roach Warren in time, and with Defender's advantage, something like, 7 army supply won't be that big of a deal.
Well, the Bandits are getting some decent hits. It clears more than enough of the Lings off, so Bly can't really get the surround he's hoping for. I mean, the timing here with the Roaches is nice, and he's going to get here when Snute's still producing, but on the other side of the map, Snute goes for a run by, and Bly can't quite defend this with the Lings he has available.
Yeah,
he's pulling a lot back to defend this.
All the reinforcing Lings that are supposed to help his Roaches control and surround Snutes are just gone now, and they feel a little bit useless. Snute even managed to sneak in a Ravager there. That extra range, that one Corsair Bile can really help out, and the game has to level out, but unfortunately, with Snute already in the drone lead and making another round of drones safely. And flashbacks to that laser game, Bly just will start falling behind in terms of the macro game if he can't think of something to do, if he can't catch Snute off guard. Snute does not have the best Overlord coverage after losing that Overlord here especially, but he has enough knowledge, I guess, of Bly's positioning. Splits up his units a little bit. Well, the pulls drones. Oh, and
the extra Ravagers are nice because they're fast too, so they'll be able to chase Snute back off that third. Not to mention the fact that he might just kill the third. Snute can't abandon this like this. That's a lot of Roaches and Ravagers. Of course, Bale's going to hit the eggs too, and the hatchery dies. He's going to try and snipe off the Ravagers. It's a nice bit of focus fire from him, but it's also, you know what? Those Broodlings help out a ton to soak some of the hits.
They do. Tries to come back onto Snute's Ravagers. Doesn't quite work out, and these Lings will be able to get surrounds and hold him in place.
This is a hard to judge situation though, because Snute actually has a lot more tech faster. He's got more drones by a lot, but he did lose that third base, and that's going to hurt.
It does, yeah. It's not like he was swimming in minerals. He's gotta wait a little while. Oh no, I already planned it down, but still, he's gotta wait a little while to get the economy back, despite having more drones. I still think they both have enough minerals that this drone lead is still gonna give Snute yeah, it is. Favorable advantage, income war still being won by him, but it's really, I'm looking more towards that Spire. Now, this could be a bad move by Snute. Like, if he's going to invest into a Spire and start banking for that Spire, and Bly hits him at that exact time, you can die. You can die with a significant advantage, in fact. We've seen it happen before in ZvZs. But Bly actually has to hit that timing, otherwise he's going to have to deal with mutas and kind of just turtle and not be able to do very much.
Well, I will say that the attack at the top right looks like it's a little bit unexpected. So Bly's got the Roaches there. They get pulled over. Snute doesn't have much staying power with these Lings, but he does get the Queen and backs away, and that's not too bad. Back at home, he also loses one of his own queens, so a bit of a trade, tit for tat, if you will. But again, Snute's had so much more money this game for so much longer than Bly. And again, even without that third base properly saturated, and only just now being able to send the drones over, you still have better income. So he's pretty well matched in every regard, and these mutas are just the icing on the cake. The mutas are the best representation of the lead he's had up to this point.
Snute has a decent number of Roaches on the ground, but there's Bly's attack. This is kind of what I was talking about. There's only 5 mutas on the way, yet he banked a lot for them. I guess he just had a larva problem after losing that hatchery. But Bly kind of runs into a surround. I don't know if that was the best thing to do. Now the glaive worms are being very effective. He can't split his Roaches to distract this way and that, and well, that's actually kind of it for Bly's attack. I thought it was a much scarier timing.
It looked like, I mean, the timing, the numbers were there, but again, for Snute, he's got +1. He's got the advantage of mutas that can't be shot. They also ricochet a little bit. I mean, every little bit of an advantage Snute could hope for, he had in that fight.
Yeah, I really don't know about... Well, he probably tried to blitz past the Roaches and accidentally got surrounded, but that really helped the mutas contribute their maximum amount to the attack. They're going to clean up this little Roach force, at least they're distracting the mutas, but he can't really deal with Snute's Roaches himself, and this looks like it might be a game-ending attack. Oh, just a little split. Just a little AI
you know, I gotta say, it's a little bit of a bummer, because I really, I don't know, like, Bly got so walked over in this match, and I didn't expect it to be this bad, especially because he walked into this looking very prepared for Snute with that early pool, and it's a shame to see him go down like this, but he is ultimately going to die. It's 85 army supply to 36. There's just no way to keep up with the Roaches. There's nothing left to shoot the mutas. And looks like Bly will be the first player eliminated in the TING Open Season 3.
Yeah, a little sad to go out like that, but Snute and Laser both had his number. Those builds didn't look... They never tripped anyone up, and that's kind of Bly's thing. That'll send Snute waiting in the Deciders match. He's probably hoping to face Optimus again, not just for revenge, but also just so he doesn't have to face a Laser. So,
yeah.
be watching probably.
That will put us off to a little bit of break time, though, while we go poke the players and make sure they're all around. I think Optimus and a Laser is going to be really cool, because like we got to see Optimus versus Snute, so we know, okay, you know what? This guy actually isn't that bad at TVZ. But a Laser is like one of the best players in Europe. He's, again, the guy who got into BlizzCon. He went the furthest of most foreigners. On top of the fact that it just seems like he's got some sort of mind game advantage over a lot of these players. And I don't know what it is.
I don't know. He
But
definitely has the
before we go to break-
advantage watching that Snute game. Go on.
Well, before we go to break, I have to link you this amazing thing I found in the background of some of the... I had opened up about 5 or 6 shower curtain links before we got into that game. Because I have to buy a shower curtain for this place.
Okay.
And I don't know if you want to show this on stream, but this is the most amazing one I'm really tempted to buy.
Hold on here. I'm not going to show it on stream. It is a sexy nude naked male with flowers.
But why does he have flowers coming out of his butt? It makes no sense.
I don't know, man.
I'll link it on stream.
There, you can do that.
But all right, a word from our sponsors. Thank you guys for watching. Stick around. We'll be back with a winner's match of a Laser versus Optimus in a few minutes.